What is going to happen with Utah's housing market? We're going to be going over the supply and the demand, the housing prices, interest rates, renting, and is there a possible crash moving forward in what's going on in 2024? All upcoming in this video. Hi, my name is Jenny. If this is your first time to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell for notifications to get more videos like this on a weekly basis. I am excited to work with people like you who are looking to sell your house or to move into Utah. I get calls and texts from people just like you, so I have a link down below if you want to get connected and set up an appointment where we can talk through it via internet, or just call me. There's lots of different options down there and videos to watch if you're more interested in learning more about Utah County. Until then, let's jump into the video. Wherever you are, your home ownership starts here right now on this channel with me, Jenny Pro Realtor. Welcome to my channel. Utah in itself is definitely on the top 10 trending states in the United States for their infrastructure and being secure with making sure we don't get a housing crash or have an infrastructure of job loss. Utah's always been known for one of those states that has good infrastructures for their economy. Now, last year, Utah, their home values increased by almost 16% in the fourth quarter. That shows to be the third state among the U.S. a federal housing finance agency. That's a big number. The number of homes that were sold increased by almost 13% year over year, indicating that we are continually growing in our homes for sale. We have a housing supply and demand issue, which causes for the housing prices to be increased year over year. Now, the Utah housing prices right now have increased over 7%, which means your median house price went from $508,000 to $545,000 just in one fiscal year, and also increased by 607 homes to 2,500 homes just within 1 year. The housing market is doing really well in 2024 in Utah. Now, if you were to look at the last 5 years, our whole house increased almost by 60%. We're sitting at 57% there. Really, despite the mortgage rate climbs that have gone all the way up to 7.3%, we are still seeing the house values going up continually. They're not going up as fast. 57 is a lot of an increase just within the last 5 years, but we are seeing an average of positive appreciation year by year in Utah. Now, interest rates do make a difference when it comes to the housing prices. This week, when I'm recording this in the first week of August, the interest rates did go down and have been the lowest that they have been since the beginning of the year. We are continually seeing an influx of buyers entering the market and a lot of first-time home buyers. We still have a housing supply shortage, and I'm going to get into that with you. Now, because of the infrastructures of a lot of desires of people wanting to move into Utah, we've got the recreational, we've got the family, we've got a low crime rate, we've got the infrastructure for businesses and tech and new build and companies coming in that have all been supported by how we govern the economy here in Utah. We do have a housing supply shortage due to the high need for first-time home buyers wanting to come in. Now, Utah has a lot of infrastructures we're trying to put in place with condos, townhouses. We're even having 15-minute cities wanting to come in, and I just posted a video about a 15-minute city that is proposed to come into the city called Vineyard in Utah County. Go check out that video there. And also seeing that new build is actually on fire, but because of the influx of what happened with the interest rates, there was a down slow for the build and the infrastructure for lumber, being able to build these homes fast enough. But we are seeing a 12.3 increase of sales for new builds, which is why I talk about new builds in my video above with Edge Homes on what it would look like to buy a new home in Utah, because there are a lot of people and a lot of first-time home buyers that are building new homes. Now, these builders have a lot of incentives. They can give you a lower interest rate if they're working with a private credit union, or they can give you, gifts as far as fridges or gifts as far as understanding the closing costs and what you need, or a refinance. There's a lot of little things these new builders are doing. So make sure you reach out and we can get in touch with a new build if that's something that you're interested in. Now, I know a lot of people are worried about a housing crash. There's not really an infrastructure for that to happen in Utah, particularly because our jobs are doing so well, our businesses are thriving. So what we really are worried about is the housing shortage and supply and demand of what's going to happen, which could turn then shift the market into a seller's market. So right now, we were 37,000 units in shortage, but it also has been reduced by 28,000 units back in 2022, which is why you're starting to see a lot of these uprise buildings coming up, a lot of condos, a lot of, small city living, a lot of shared driveway living. If you want to come out here and get a townhouse, you can get townhouses in West Jordan and South Jordan over there, and they all have the shared driveways, but they have a community of parks. And so that's kind of becoming the life of living here in Utah, is that if you can't afford a single family home with some land, then you can use a shared driveway and get a better pricing on your home. This is because of the supply shortage of the housing issue that we have. Now, there's also an affordability issue, which is why, again, we're trying to give less land so you can afford more. There's a lot of different infrastructures happening in here. And let's move over to renting, because a lot of your people need to know what it's even going to take to buy a home or what it would take to rent. Home ownership is starting to fade within the United States as a whole, because it's getting smaller and smaller for the ability for someone to qualify for a home, because looking at an average home around $450,000 at a 6% interest rate, you're looking upwards of $4,000 for a monthly mortgage, depending on how much money you put down, the type of loan that you have. So right now, only 15% of Utah's renters households have enough income in order to be able to buy a home. That is modestly priced around $300,000 to $400,000, and then from there, they would be making around an income of $60,000 or more. Now, I have done deals with people who make $60,000 or more, and it is a tight squeeze to try to get in there. A lot of your first-time home buyer loans have also disappeared, which means you have to have put money down in order to buy a home, which means now you're needing to save money when you can barely afford living on that $60,000. So what we are trying to do is play that influx of saying, look, right now, if you're a first-time home buyer, I want you to view the home buying process a little bit different. I want you to view it as like buying a condo first, okay? Buying a trailer if that's what you need to do. Because Utah's appreciation is continually on the rise, you sit in that home for 3 to 5 years, and then you can use that equity that you just gained in appreciation from that home to get to the next home. So as soon as you can buy a home, buy a home. I get that question asked all the time is, Jenny, when is the right time to buy a home? Now, I could go over the seasons and the taxes and the schools and the holidays that influx throughout the whole 12 months of when is the right time to buy and sell. But truly the right answer is when you can afford to buy a home, you should buy a home. Now, that type of home that you want to afford should be very different to what you can afford versus what you want to afford. There's always going to be something that you're not going to get on your checklist in buying a home. But the key is to get into a home so that you can use the appreciation value with the equity that you can gain in order to move to the next home when you're ready to sell and move up. Now, on average, on the United States across the board anyway, people move out of their homes within 5 different homes during their span of their lifetime. 5 to 7 homes. So put yourself in that category if you're a first-time home buyer, and then you're starting to look pretty normal. You're not having to feel like you have to wait for a crash, because that's what I'm seeing is people wanting to get into a line and wait for the interest rates to go down. But what they don't realize is when they get up there, the housing prices are going to cost a lot more. So you've got to pick what one you're wanting to do, because it's going to be a teeter-totter effect. Now, if you're wanting to get into some rental units, you know that rent right now, if you want to do rent in Park City, you're still looking upwards of $5,000 a month for rent over there. Upward in the north parts of Logan, you're looking around $1,300. Basically a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. If you're looking for like a 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, you're looking more around the $2,000 range. Even flooding down in here to Utah County, I have multiple rental units that I have, and we're renting them around $2,300 for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, possible garage, and a backyard. So it is possible, which also makes it hard for investors right now to buy an investment property because of interest rates. Now, we are hearing from the feds that they are going to lower them. We are in an election year, but it all just depends. There's a lot of different variable and factors, which is why I say if you can afford, let's talk and look at the numbers. Now, I always want to communicate with you between 6 months to a whole year before you even move, so we can get the goals in place, maybe get some savings put in place, knowing what kind of increase you might need to ask for at your job and what kind of debt you need to pay down for. Those are strategies that I use in real estate and getting you ready to buy a home. In the last chapter of this one is, will there be a housing crash here in Utah? And unfortunately, for those who might not like this answer, it is not going to be happening anytime soon in Utah. We have very strong infrastructures of businesses. So we are looking more at a seller's market because of that. Because if the market were to crash, that means our economy is not doing well. That means we're doing our job losses, which means it's going to be even harder to buy a home. So when you're looking at an economy crash, you might not want to be wishing for that, because it means the economy is not doing well, which means your job might not be doing well, which means you might not not be able to afford a home, whether you're trying to save for a crash or not. Right now, the average cost of living in Utah is upwards of $50,000. It is the fastest growing state on the top 10 charts in the United States. It also has one of the lowest crime rates, which causes for a high supply and demand issue happening here in Utah. Now, we do have lower taxes, which is also why people want to move into Utah for their property taxes. We're not exempt from property taxes, but just know if you're looking to do a buy down on a home, you need to have at least 3 to 3.5% down on a home in order to buy a home. Now, there's different types of loans, and I can go through all of this with you if you want to sit down with me and go over that and educate you and help you understand what decisions and choices that you have in buying a home. But don't plan and wait for a housing crash, because that means the economy is not doing well. Look at your finances. Let's sit down and see if the story makes sense. Click the link below, get in touch with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of going over the housing prices, the renting prices, the supply and the demand, and knowing if buying a home is the right time for you. Guys, I'll see you in my next video.